pronouncing it correctly, that there's Kong and practice here. And I'm wondering if one should get involved in that right away, or wait, and how one gets involved in that.
Oh, well, you're already involved.
Okay.
You just don't know it yet. So, what brought you here tonight? Okay, stop. Just that mind. That moment when you're like, before the wheels start to turn and the thinking machine starts to make up a reason, right? That's koan practice. When you die, where do you go? That's koan practice. That question. Those kind of questions that we can't figure out in our head. Before you're born, where do you come from? Who are you? When you die, where do you go? We can make up stuff, and we do make up stuff, don't we? We make up stuff. That's a question that Desantinim always asked us, you know. I am energy, I am a soul, I am a rainbow. When you die, where do you go? I'm going to heaven, I'm going to hell, I'm going to be reborn as this or that. We don't know. Kongan practice is holding these questions and keeping this dono mind. Everything, I say this, I'm like a broken record, really. I'm sorry. For those of you who have had to hear it over and over, like here she goes again. But everything in the universe is functioning according to this dono mind, dono energy. So an apple tree always makes apples. You know, now the leaves are starting to change color. They do this every year on time without thinking. They don't do it in June. They do it now, all without thinking. Water flows to the sea. Dogs never meow. Think about that. You see a dog anytime. It always acts in accordance with its nature. It doesn't make a mistake, right? Sticks its head out the window of a car, the tongue is flapping. Cats don't do that, right? Dog never will say meow. So everything in the universe is functioning according to this except for us. We do say meow. We do bark. We do act like animals. We do act not in accordance with our human nature. We are upside down. We do fly airplanes into buildings. And not just in this country on that day, but every day in every country. And you know, this is our human problem. So where does that come from? It comes from straying from the truth of who we are. So that's where we get confused because we attach to our thinking. Koan practice means not attached to your thinking, perceive what's real, perceive what's true. And as then Sheila was telling us, we keep our correct situation, correct relationship, correct function. So I always really like koan practice in our school, and I did practice in other schools for many years before coming to the Zen Center. And I didn't know about koans, you know, so I had never heard of them. I had sort of heard of them, but I didn't really know what they were. And one of the things that I really appreciate about our particular tradition and our Zen master, Sung San, is that what the Kongans do is they help us to use our wisdom. So he would often say, you know, maybe you got something, maybe you sit for 10 years or 20 years, and maybe you do attain something. But if you can't use that, he used to say, then you're like a mute who has a dream. You understand your dream, but you can't communicate it. So Kongan practice helps us to take this experience and put it into action in the world. Namchan Zen master picks up a cat, 500 monks, fighting over this cat. Eastern Hall said, that's our cat. Western Hall said, no, that's our cat. So they're fighting over this cat. Namchan Zen Master pulls out his razor, his knife, picks up the cat, he holds it up in front of everybody, and he shouts, you love this cat? Give me one word, I'll save it. You cannot, I'll kill him. So Konan question for us Zen students is, if you had been there, how will you save this cat? So I think every person, when they hear, that's one of the famous koans, that everybody loves it, whether they're a Zen student or they're not a Zen student, that will get everybody. The kids, little kids, anybody, you know, what can you do? And you may have this love in your heart, and you may have this wisdom. The Kongan practice is one more step, means how do you use that? How do you respond? How do you do this correct function? And so I always tell everybody, if you're not attached to being right and having the correct answer, which we're so programmed to do, the way we're raised, we want to get 100 on the test, we want to have an A, we don't like to be exposed for not knowing or for the, you know, nincompoops that we are. So some people don't like it because they don't like the feeling of not knowing. But the other thing that koan does for us is it keeps waking up the dono. It keeps us getting friendlier and friendlier and more accepting and more open with the dono mind, which at the end is really all we have, because we don't know anything. We don't know anything. And Zen practice says, then why make it up? Making up an answer in your brain is just your way of making yourself feel better. But it has nothing to do with reality. So that's a koan.